Hey, good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. We're coming out of recess. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I can have the clerk call the roll for tonight, please.
Councilman Gary Donovan.
Councilman Gary Donovan, Council at Large present.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor, Council at Large here.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani.
Here.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky is absent. Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite.
Councilwoman Millie Garthwaite, Second District President.
Councilwoman Sarah Aquarelli is absent. Councilman Mitchell Galagnano.
Councilman Mitchell Galagnano, Fourth District President.
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton.
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton, 5th District present.
Councilwoman Kathy Tucker is absent. Councilman Victor Boras.
Councilman Victor Boris, 8th District present.
Councilman Robert Bruno.
Councilman Robert Bruno, 9th District present.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone is absent. Chairman Peter Mazzaro.
Chairman Peter Massaro is here.
Okay.
Thank you, Stacy. Before we get started, a couple of documents in front of us that we requested last night. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. We have the list of new positions or recommended positions for the mayor's FY24 budget. We have a breakdown of the financial services line item in the comptroller's office, and we also have a document for enrollment projections from the Board of Education. Tonight up first is purchasing. Rick Spryer. Evening, Rick.
How are you?
Good, good. Any opening comments, or you want us to just get into it?
Go ahead and get right to it.
All right.
Fine with me.
Anybody have any questions for the purchasing director? The purchasing budget's on page 53 and 54. If you have a question, we could. If you're ready, Mr. Bruno, go right ahead.
Rick,
Yes, sir.
on these positions that are listed, are all those positions at this time filled?
No, the administration position's not filled.
Okay, so what, can you just enlighten us to what the plan is moving forward?
When the need arises completely to fill the position, we will post it. Right now, I don't see the need to pay someone to do something that isn't 100% necessary right now.
Okay, that's fair. But but you're requesting those funds, right?
I'm requesting those funds should the need arise to have the procurement administration position filled, yes.
Okay. Nothing else right now, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, Rick, is that part-time?
Nope.
So that would be their salary, $48,000 for a
Correct.
full-time
Yeah.
procurement administrator?
It's a 681 position. That's in line with their CBA.
Has the job description been drawn up yet?
No.
So
I haven't drawn the job description. Whether personnel has one, I don't know, but I haven't drawn one up.
you would be the supervisor, right?
Correct. I haven't seen one, put it that way, I haven't seen one.
So what's the likelihood that this job will come to fruition in this coming budget year?
I don't really know. I mean, crystal balls get foggy. I'm not really sure how it's gonna pan out, but,
Let me ask it a different way. What do you in, so your organizational structure now is you and the buyer?
correct.
Right? And that seems, as you're going through and updating processes and procedures and so on and so forth, is this a two-man shop?
Well,
Or is
no,
it
so we're
wrong
also
word.
in the
Is this a two-person shop, or is this a three-person
I
shop?
think it's probably gonna evolve into a 3-person shop. We're going to update Munis into our new development, a new software package for Munis. Once that happens, a lot of work that is really considered unneeded right now because it's going to change, the whole package is going to change soon. Once that upgrade happens, there'll be a lot of housekeeping that needs to be done within Munis that will fit neatly into that procurement administration role, I think.
I think it's because if we were to do that now, the amount of time to do the housekeeping that we need to do it's prohibitive. with the upgrade, the new version, it'll be worth our time to do it because we can do it a lot faster. And so therefore, it's not like Munis is getting harder to use, and so we need more people.
Councilman Boris?
How you doing, Ray? Question, you said should it arise up, what is it? Like what if that needs to arise up so that you say, okay, now I need this person?
That's I like I said, a crystal ball is foggy. I don't know exactly what it would be. I just know that, there is a tangible possibility that position is going to be needed, especially when we upgrade Munis, because there will be a lot more housekeeping that can finally get done rather than pushing it down the road to this upgrade that we've been doing now. We've been working with a system that's 11 versions behind where we're supposed to be. So it doesn't make sense to upgrade this and work on this. We get by with what we have and we make it work. Once this new upgrade comes in, we'll be able to push someone into that position to.
I was just thinking that before if it's not on it yet to be done, like, maybe you should have waited to arise, then ask for it. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. Like, we don't know what it is for, really. I mean, I don't see a reason. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a valid opinion. I should.
Yeah.
My.
Chairman?
Rick, how come office supplies, it says police? You buy the office,
We oversee the police department's office supplies budget. Yes, but we oversee the office supplies budget for the city as well. So
Well, I understand the city, I mean, but doesn't it come out of their budget?
it does. That's no. This is central. It's a purchasing budget. It all comes out of the same budget. Yeah, they're within the purchasing. It's like central. It should probably be into central services, but it's in purchasing. But I oversee central services as well. So.
I missed that last thing. You oversee central
Central
services
services
as well?
as well,
I was
yeah.
gonna ask that question.
Yep.
Okay.
All set.
You good? Councilwoman Hamilton?
I have a real easy question
Okay.
for you.
Sure.
So it looks like that we might have a $40 million gap coming up with the Board of Education from what we heard
Okay.
last night. So you have any ideas at all where the city could possibly save some money? Anything on the top of your head?
So yeah, so that's David and I have been working together, and Tammy, our buyer, and a couple other people up here on the third floor have been working on at the behest of the MARB some revenue enhancements and some cost mitigation strategy for the city. Revenue enhancement. I sent all of you that parking monetization program we're looking at. Mike Walsh put out today that we're starting the boot program again with the tax collectors. We're going to be rebidding our municipal solid waste, and we've got some targeted efficiencies that we're going to be including into that budget that we're hoping will alleviate some of the stress that the tipping fees and the MSW collection has. We're going to centralize. We're going to bid out some centralized services, HVAC work, plumbing, mechanical, things of that nature, where we're too often going out and buying off on market, open market, and probably not getting the best price we could be getting if we get 3 quotes where we need to, but if we've got a competitive bid for the on-call position, you're going to get a better rate overall. So we're going to bid those 3 for sure: mechanical, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. I'm sorry, not mechanical, electrical. Yeah, I mean, I've got a whole list in my office and everything on the top of my head right now. I don't want to start throwing out pipe dreams, but I'd be happy to share anything you'd like, offline, just kind of give you where we're going. And we haven't quantified all of it, but there's a lot of cost mitigation, a lot of where we see potential revenue enhancements, especially. So it's something that the MARB's tasked us with doing, and we'll be able to we will be able to present that to them at the April subcommittee meeting as well.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you so
You're welcome.
much.
So, Rick, talk to me about cross-training. So, you're going on vacation next week. So, people, you know, there's gonna be a purchase order or voucher or whatever that your office has to sign off on. Is the buyer, authorized to sign
Yes.
off on that?
Yeah, she has the same user privileges in Munis as I do. And everything in Munis is user stamped, so it's not like she can go in and supplant the system, because if we wanted to go back and audit it, we would see that something, you know, something was amiss there. So, but yeah, Tammy is well versed in what happens, the day-to-day operations of the department, and will be able to handle my duties seamlessly.
And no item would be purchased. I don't know if the question's for you. So if neither you or Tammy were available, would that sit until one of you are, or will that be bypassed and continue to process?
If Tammy or I was not available, would the purchase order be able to be created? No. But I mean, it's only, if that would have, I can use the system remotely.
No,
You know,
that
it's-
was the right answer,
yeah.
Rick. You
Yeah,
don't need
no,
to
yeah, no.
explain. That was
Yeah.
the right answer.
Yeah, no,
They
no
can't-
one- no
They
one would
can't
be able-
bypass your check.
No.
Right?
No.
Okay. All right. Questions for anybody? For Mitch, Councilman Galignano?
So, going back to this procurement administrator.
Mm-hmm.
So if this job were to start in December, we'd only be using half of
We'd be
that.
prorating the salary, obviously. yeah.
Correct. So we're just trying to save this job, because if you come to us in December.
It's a bookmark, so I don't come to December.
Correct, and say to us, I need 25 grand, and now we gotta go scramble for 25 grand.
Yeah, nothing else would get booked to that line item, obviously.
Correct. So I just wanna make sure, so we understand if we put the money there, it's if we need it. If we don't need
It
it,
stays there and it goes right back to the general fund.
correct. So it wouldn't be a big issue if it would be a bigger issue if we didn't put it there than if we put it there.
Correct.
Okay.
That's my
Wanna make
feeling.
clear
That's
that.
my feeling, yes.
So everybody understands, if we put the money there, it's there for us to use. If we don't use it, it comes back to us.
Correct, absolutely.
And if we only use the job half the year, we only use half the money.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Donovan?
Rick, how you doing?
All right.
How close, it had nothing to do with the budget, but how close are we of ridding the voucher system altogether?
Well, we had a meeting, Wednesday, Tuesday?
week.
Tuesday about that. And we've got there are a couple of instances where vouchers are just unfortunately a necessary evil. It's very, very few and far in between. We are now where we were probably 20-80 vouchers, 80% vouchers. We're now a good at least 95% of our purchases go through, you know, a Munis system. We're working on getting them going through the proper channels right now of Munis, the proper steps, but people are working, people are open to it. No one's complaining about it. The new version's going to make it much easier and much more user-friendly, so the vouchers they may be a thing that never completely goes away, and that's good because a lot of nuances into that, but it's going to become far, far more of an exception than anywhere near a norm.
Oh, right, good. And you just answered my other question, is like, how many, is everybody pretty much on board with the? Munis?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, so we had the meeting on Tuesday. We went over all the policies, all the thresholds for purchases, for open market, for quotes, for bidding. Anything quoted 3 times now has to have the quote emailed to the purchasing department. We will then file that with the rec, so then our auditors come and ask, you know, they pull a $4,500 purchase, we've got all the quotes correlated with that. Anything over $10,000 has to be publicly bid or on a contract or purchasing a state or national cooperative contract. We reviewed the MARB policies again, the $50,000 threshold with MARB, the $250,000 full contract threshold with MARB. So we're doing our best to keep, you know, pounding home the thresholds with MARB. We don't want to find ourselves in another, you know, uncomfortable situation with MARB. So we are going through and, we presented, I think, 5 non-labor contracts to MARB for this meeting, and we will continue to do so, at future meetings, so.
Great. And the last thing, the P card system, how's that working out?
It's very good. It's working well. It's designed. It's working the way it's designed to work. It's people were some people were apprehensive about the process and things, but it's
People don't like change.
yeah, people don't
don't
like
like
change.
change.
Yeah, but it's a
it's
much.
always- yeah.
It's really not change. It's just individual cards for one master account. So it's
right.
working out very well.
Good.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to share the number. I don't have the numbers,
No, no,
but I
that's
can share those numbers with
Just
you.
want to make sure
Yep.
it was in place and working.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
working out
Thank you,
good.
Chairman. Thanks.
Councilwoman O'Connor?
Hi,
Hi.
thank you guys, both of you, for coming and showing up and speaking articulately at the MARB meetings.
Oh, you're
That's
welcome.
very important that people can understand what you're saying. And speaking of the MARB, they requested a list of the people who are allowed to sign checks and which department heads and stuff are allowed to sign purchase orders. May we also have copies of those lists?
Sure. So I spoke with Simon at the MARB. I wasn't able to get that list to him because I don't have the user rights in Munis to generate that report, unfortunately, and I just wasn't able to get it to him on time. I will probably have it to him, have it for him before the meeting, but it wasn't included in the meeting materials. But yeah, when I get that list, I'll be happy to share it with you. So every department head is an approver in Munis. It goes from the requisitioner to the department head has to approve it, and then it goes to the finance director, and then it goes to me.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
There's only 3 people who can sign checks.
Yeah.
Myself, Michael Last, and the mayor. The mayor can only sign if one of the 2 of us aren't available.
Thank you.
Councilman Bruno?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rick? Is it normal, somebody mentioned something to this body, I don't know what meeting, but it concerned me, and I was waiting to speak to you. Is it normal for the purchase order to be issued after the job has already started?
No.
Well then,
That's why I said that we're moving on the process. We've improved the use of Munis for record keeping and for accountability. We're now using it we're now pushing it so it goes toward. I told everyone at the meeting the other day, a requisition is you're requesting permission to spend the city's money. No person in this city has the right to spend taxpayer money without getting the approval to do so first. And that's what a purchase order is. So, we're moving towards making sure everyone has a requisition, a quote. They put the requisition in, it goes through the proper approval process, purchase order, then it sends to the vendor. We're also going to institute, we're hoping for beginning of the fiscal year, July 1, a no PO, no payment policy with our vendors. If your invoice does not reference a valid PO number with our system, we will not pay that invoice.
that would be great.
And
I
that's
know
being
that-
sent to all of our vendors, starting, not next week, but the week after I get back.
I know you were out for a tad, and, thank God you're back, but we definitely have to get the restraints tightened up here. Something, I have never in any business ever heard that you get the PO after the job started. So that would mind me ask, then who authorized the job? Without a PO, the job's not authorized.
So that was one of I don't want to see a rec come over through the system that references an invoice. Then you're doing it wrong if you're doing it that way.
Thank you, Rick.
Yep.
Nothing else.
Rick, when will we see a draft ordinance, purchasing ordinance, right? We have an ordinance now that's outdated, that wasn't followed all that well, and then I believe maybe before you, we had a consultant come in, do a lot of work, talk to us about, any time we would get that draft ordinance. Is it on the horizon?
Yeah, it actually just got brought up a week ago. I picked up the draft ordinance that the consultant had. It was, I think, a good framework for a proper ordinance, but it's got a little way to go. Right now, we're just kind of, unfortunately, most of our days are bogged down with, you know, the day-to-day operations of the city, plus the requests of MARB and, now budget season, but it's something that, yeah, we'll definitely pick up, in the next few weeks, we'll pick back up.
And your line item advertising, I mean, that's what you do all the time, right? I
Mhm.
mean, we did one ad, it was like $4,000,
Mhm.
you know, and so you have 13,000 for the year. That's
Yeah.
sufficient?
So one of our goals is to start moving some of the smaller advertising jobs to the West Haven Voice rather than the New Haven Register. So our purchasing ordinance says that you just have to advertise for 10 days in a newspaper that has circulation within the city. West Haven Voice has plenty of circulation within the city. We post all of our jobs on our website. The major jobs we post on their state, DAS procurement website. It's not like putting in the register is where everyone's getting the information from. It's from our website, from the alerts on our website, from the DAS site. So we're gonna push most of our smaller advertising to the West Haven Voice, where the cost is a fraction of what it is at the register. And we're also gonna start pushing the advertising costs of our major projects to our construction managers, rather than us and take on those fees. We're gonna push those fees to our construction managers, so.
And you said 10 days. What's the 10-day reference?
10 days from the published legal notice until the bids are due. So if I publish something on April 1st, I have to give until April 11th.
So at least 10 days.
10 days, yeah. Minimum of 10 days. But it has to be published once, that's it.
And who do you purchase for? You purchase for City Hall, the police department, anyone else?
Allentown Fire Department. And then on the larger jobs, Board of Education, I work on their bids for Board of Education with Matt Cavallaro, and I work on their bids.
So they don't
as
have a
well.
separate purchasing agent?
No. And I also assist, I'll assist the Center and West Shore fire districts with some of their larger bids as well, so.
Good to hear. Anybody else for Mr. Spryer? Yes, Chairman.
That's, Rick, that's the same thing the federal government requests too. Because I had a problem when I wrote a grant for a piece of apparatus. As long as it's circulating within the town, any newspaper that circulates within the town, you could
Yeah.
put it in the paper. And my pet peeve was, yeah, sure, I'll put one in West City Voice, and nobody will bid on it because
Yeah,
there's no manufacturers here.
yeah, no, it's a good way to save money on a smaller publication, and it's frankly, it's not where we get our respondents from the legal notice in the register is not where we're getting our respondents. We're getting them from posting on our website, posting on the state website, so.
Okay.
Rick, central services, postage. So it's the same amount, 52,000 was appropriated this year. Request and recommendation is 52,000 next year. We're gonna have the registrars before us in a couple of minutes stating that they need to send out cards for residents to let them know where they're supposed to vote. It was not funded in their budget.
Yeah.
Is this something that would be incorporated in this 52,000, or do we
Well,
have
that's,
to-
I didn't see that the registrar's postage request wasn't funded in their budget, so, that may be something I need to look back at and re-examine, but I'm not sure yet. But it's something to think about for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the request was,
It's a 16.
16 and it dropped down
marked
to
down
7.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a gap there that we have to pay attention to, or.
That's something I'm gonna have to look at for sure, yeah. But that's an easy, our postage meter allows us to see what function, what department function is used what, so that's an easy look for
So
us.
would you get back to us to let us know if there's something that you think that we need to do?
Mhm.
Okay.
I have one question.
Yes, Councilwoman Akbarali.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
For essential services, I noticed line item 55190, other office equipment. When I go across, I see that the numbers are changed astronomically. Exactly what are those other office equipment
Which,
items.
I'm sorry, from the year-to-date to the projections?
Yes.
So, other office equipment is just that. It's stuff that's not budgeted for or not allocated within any department's budget. So the main crux of this other office supplies is computers.
Okay.
There was a blanket PO for IT. We hired, we're putting new positions in, we're bringing new people on board. We had a couple of consultants come in. We needed computers, so we took that all the other office supplies.
Okay. Are we able to add that in there, that it is computers?
To add other office equipment / computers?
Yeah.
I mean,
Just because it might be a question.
I don't know if, because, well, I'd have to look to see that object, if any other departments use that object, because it
Okay.
might not fit with others.
Right.
I have to go through and just see how many accounts that
Right.
object is.
Just because there might be a question with, how the year-to-date numbers are.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, I can send you a year-to-date spend report on
That'd be
that as
great.
well. Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. I'm all set, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Oh,
you, Rick.
did you want to know about electricity rates?
Oh, yeah, I do. Thank
Yeah,
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I figured,
Appreciate that, yeah.
save you the email
I
later on.
mentioned it, and then I forgot about it.
Save you the email
Yeah.
later. So, we brokered a deal with a company called Titan Energy. They're energy brokers. They go out and put an RFP out together with our UI rates for energy. We signed with Constellation this year. Our previous rate before this contract was 7.3 cents per kilowatt hour. We locked in a 24-month rate of 13.86 cents per kilowatt hour, which is a 90% increase in utility and electricity costs. When we locked this in, when we discussed this with the MARB, I haven't looked what it currently is, but the market rate was 24 cents, which is another 10 cents on top of what we locked in at. Our annual usage is approximately 14 million kilowatt hours. So our increase should be about $900,000 in our electricity budget. But that contract offset what is so far a little over a $1.1 million additional expense that we did not incur, so.
And if the rate goes lower,
Yes, after 1 year, we're allowed to renegotiate our deal.
you said the market now is 20 something.
24.
And I don't know when those solar panels are supposed to go up on the dump.
So
But
that's,
will that have any impact on, I don't know what that contract is, if we're able to buy at a cheaper rate from them, or,
the one on the dump, I don't know the numbers. The ones at the PD and in the parking lot here, I don't know when they're. I've got to call Green Skies and find out when construction's supposed to begin on it, because I think we locked in at a little over 12 cents per kilowatt hour on the electricity generated from those. So, but that would be for this building, PD, and there was one other location, I don't know. But a heavy amount of this comes from, obviously, our streetlights are included in this 14 million kilowatt hours. So, it's not the total that everybody wanted to see, but it's better than what we could have been. So.
and is it, listen, I know, and I lose track, it's pre-COVID, post-COVID, I lose track of time. So it seems like we just flipped these street lights from incandescent to LED, but I'm guessing it's probably 6, 7, 8 years ago,
Yeah, it's been
right?
a while. Yeah.
And is this still the
crux of our amount of usage?
Well, are those LEDs that installed? Yeah, is there version 6 and we're on version 1?
I don't know. I can find out. That I don't know. I can find that out.
And is it and we own the poles, lights, rent the lights?
I think we own the poles. Yeah, we had that conversation with UI.
I believe we own one.
I believe we own all the poles.
Yeah, because that's gotta be, I mean, it's, and is our electric bill broken down into,
Yeah, it's broken down by account number, by a stack of bill. The bill that comes every month is about that big, just because it's broken down by each building, some streets, some.
so we don't know each month how much is City Hall using, how much are the streetlights using, how much is the water pollution plant using, we don't, it's not that easy.
I mean, it's not that we don't know. It's just that we know exactly how much we're spending. We just don't know compared to 2 years ago how much we spent, because it would just be a matter of extrapolating that data and putting it into spreadsheets and but it doesn't get sent to us electronically like that. It gets
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna create any
Send a
work, but
PDF
it would be
file.
nice to know, like, in this moment in time, the Johnson Community Center is this, and now we're gonna do this project that we're putting, new roof and new windows or whatever,
yeah,
what's
that's
it
not
gonna be?
that's not a hard ask.
City Hall's the same way, we're gonna put new windows in here and be more energy efficient. The police department, we're gonna put solar panels, so it'd kinda be nice to still have a benchmark, and, I'd really like to know how much our streetlights are costing us.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw the bill today. We do split out where it's all charged into several places. Obviously, we can give you the detail to that level. So we obviously can do that.
I mean, it's a significant cost center, it really is.
Hmm.
And it just doubled, right? It's doubly significant.
Yeah. Water's going to be the next one. I mean, it's just that's how it is. It's
Councilman
gonna be-
Bruno?
Rick, do you know, if they ever put the solar panels up behind Malloy School? For those generating any, did it ever happen,
I haven't seen anything about that at all. I don't know. I mean, that's
Yeah, I understand.
that's not.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else for Mrs. Pryor? Thanks, Rick, and thanks for reminding me about the electricity.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the Registrar of Voters.
You guys don't have copies. I made copies for you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Joanne just texted me at 4:30 that she wasn't feeling well. So I'm so low tonight. We went to a conference yesterday and she got sick from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So Shay, you're representing the whole office for the Democrat and Republican
Yeah.
Registrar of Voters? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have a text that is confirming that Joanne said it right. She wanted to reschedule and I said, no, I want to just do it, and she's okay with it.
Just want to make sure that
Okay.
that's okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Cause I did most of the budget, because
Okay.
Joanne, I mean, she's been here for so long, but I don't think she really knows the finance part of it, so I've been doing it. So, do I have to state my name?
Yeah, and then you could just kind of give us an overview of what you think is important, and then we'll ask you some questions.
Okay, my name is Sherry Lepper, I'm the Democrat Register of Voters. I send you the budget ahead of time because I think it's nice for you to have it ahead of time instead of the day of the budget meeting. So this way, if you have any questions, you could jot them down. My first thing that I think that is important, I wanna thank all of you for taking time and making the appointment. It was the redistricting this year, and for local and state. And I don't know what happened like 5 years ago, like before I came, this is I'm in my 7th year. But why we took away postcards to the voters for even the primary and the general, they kept telling me there wasn't money in the budget. I think we should find money to fund that, because especially, I know a lot of them come back to me because department buildings and mail carriers can't deliver them. Some of them don't look at the postcards. They'll go to the polling places, but because the state and local are different every other year, We have a lot of confusion with that. And I wanna service the voters. You know, I wanna take care and make sure they can go to the right polling place instead of getting aggravated, and I always vote this polling place every year. Why is it different? Even though you go on the internet, you have all kinds of information, but a lot of people don't do that. So that was my main thing, is trying to fund it. I work very well with Marlin's Printing in Milford, and he did give me a quote for just the whole city, and I put it in my budget under printing and postage, but I guess the mayor changed it just to postage. And I got a quote of, I think it was 17,000, and she only funded it 7,000. That's just for postage.
Can that be
Printing,
That'd be the primary and the general election?
that's just the whole 28,000 voters.
For both elections?
No, it's because if it's a primary, I would just do the Democrats and Republicans. If it's the general, I would have Len, who is great. He can I give him the disc file and he can sort it out to head of household, so it won't cost as much. But it's really not the printing that's the money, it's the postage.
I guess my question is that budget number that you requested, $16,000.
Yeah, that's for 28,000 voters.
So that would encompass the primary election, and if there is one, and then the general election?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Sorry.
No,
to
that's
interrupt.
okay. That's okay. And then what else? Let's see. That was my main concern, is that. And there's a few adjustments with it, and I try to add new line items, because like last year I came to you guys and you didn't really want us to use the contingency fund. So when I wrote, I broke it down into meal allowance, which is really for the food for the poll workers, but the mayor put 0 next to it. So, it wasn't a meal allowance for our office, it was for the poll workers. So this way we can keep track of how much we spend each year for the poll workers to eat, because they're there for 14 hours. What else? And then, I see that she gave us a little bit of what we wanted for, compensated for the registered voters. We requested 40, she did 38. I did a survey of all the registrars around town, per her request. And we are the lowest paying registrar with the 55,000 population. And a lot of them get paid for primaries and audits. And we might have 3 elections this year, which the presidential preference will be in April. We'll have the primary, if there's a primary, and a general. And our salary will not cut us taking time, well, I have to take time off because I can't survive on the salary I make for the registrar. The state is asking us more and more responsibilities that we have to do regarding election, and now they're telling us that they're probably gonna move the presidential preference from the end of April to the beginning of April, which will reflect Good Friday and Easter of next year.
And the number here, is it split evenly? So could I assume that if it says, if it says $38,000, you get half and Joanne gets half? Is that how it works?
Yep, 19.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what does early voting do to the operation? Anything?
So a lot of our registrars throughout Connecticut are part-time, so we would have to hire people, but I rather if you pay the registrars or my admins that know what we're doing, because we've been doing it a long time, of registering people and voting, or I can hire somebody off the street and train them. But early voting, there's a bill in there for a 10-day, 14-day, or 18-day. The Secretary of State is saying she wants to do 10 days. So that means we would have to be here on like the weekend.
Well, so tell me,
And then,
so tell me what early vote, what's the process for early voting? So if they say you could vote 10 days, up to 10 days before the election. What does that mean? Where do you go, or do you get something mailed to you? What happens?
No, early voting would be here. And then there was another bill saying that if we had over so much population that we would have to have 2 polling locations. But I think the Secretary of State is fighting that one. But you would have to come here to the registrar. The city clerk's office doesn't want nothing to do with it. But that means we would have to put, after they come in, they vote. It'd be almost like election day registration. You come in, we cross your name off the book, we mark you in the computer that you voted. It goes in the envelope, just like you do election day registration. You sign it. We don't count those votes until election day. So those have to be stored somewhere. So if it's all in the registrar's office, we have to put them in our vault, because we can't have the clerk come in here just to put them in her vault to open up, because we're gonna have to be here certain hours of the day for 10 days or 14 days. But my opinion, I don't know why it was passed, because we got no excuse absentees now coming up. So what's the difference between early voting and no excuse absentee? It's just because that we want to be like every other state.
So will the Secretary of State's office be handing down a policy so that every registrar of voters is doing this the same way? And
Yeah.
I ask you that question because I think it's important, because we want to make sure that, our elections are proper, right? And we follow procedure and policy, and, we do better than we've done in the past. And I'm not specifically saying it's your office, but we need to do better. So yeah, I think has the policy been handed down, or they're still working through it?
It's still in the process. Tim from Waterbury, he's on the legislative board, and he said by April 15th they have to make a decision, but it could be the end of April. But it definitely won't be for the primary, but it might be for the general. And if it doesn't pass by a certain time, then it's going into next year. It could happen on the presidential preference.
So would you update, I mean, our budget process ends the first Thursday of May, so would you, when you find out, you'll share that with us?
Oh,
and let us know?
absolutely, yeah. Because that's what I did in the budget. I also planned for early voting.
Okay.
I know in our budget it says overtime, but our girls would have to work over 40 hours a week, so I don't know if you can change that to extra time, because they wouldn't be getting, overtime to me means they would get time and a half. So I don't know if you could change that in the budget line, make it just extra time instead of overtime.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're looking at me?
No, well, you're the finance
Yeah,
person.
I didn't know you were asking me
No.
questions.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
They're part-time, so they're, instead of working that time, instead of 19 hours, whatever they work, they may have to work 25 hours, and that's the line item that extra payment would come from.
Right, it should come from there.
Right.
But I don't know how payroll does it,
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes they don't make up, like sometimes like Donna, she's going away the end of April. They don't get paid for sick time anymore. So they probably don't ever go over their that line item, unless, we have a lot of elections like we will next year. But if they have to do early voting, they want first option if they can work.
You ready for some questions?
I am.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions of the registrar? Let's go with Councilman Bruno and then Councilwoman O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Be nice.
Cheryl, what is the audits? I might have missed that when you explained it, where you requested 4,500, but the mayor zeroed it out.
The audits are run by University of Connecticut.
Okay.
It wasn't bad, it just started maybe 7 years ago. They randomly pick us to do an audit, to hand count the ballots. We got picked to do it in December, right after the general election. And we had one polling district, and one was on an alternate. Well, somebody couldn't make it, so we ended up having to do two districts. And we talked to Ted Bromley, and he says it is what it is, you have to count. So we had to hand count over 5,500 ballots, just to make sure the tabulators are right. So that's what an audit is. University of Connecticut runs that, and they
But
just.
you wouldn't know if you're gonna get picked, obviously, yet. So
No.
that might not be needed.
No, it might not be needed. So I just wanted to cover myself, so this way you're not like shocked, oh wow, where did this come from? So that, like, we do, I mean, we could get picked. Sometimes if we get picked in a primary,
Guess I won't get
we won't get picked in the general. We can't get picked for primary or general.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well said,
Any-
Cheryl.
Councilwoman O'Connor?
Hi,
Oh, hi.
I'm just a little confused. If there's early voting,
Mhm.
it's not 10 business days before the election, it's just 10 days. So say I decide I want to vote after church on Sunday, you have to be here?
I think it's 10 days straight, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's gonna involve the weekend, but I'm not 100% sure. But they just say 10, 14 days, yeah. I don't think it's business days. Just like next year, they're thinking like we would have to open up on Good Friday, because if they move it up to the first weekend in April, that's Easter weekend.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Garthwaite?
Sherry, can you tell me, what is the temporary payroll inclusive of the 47,440?
The
What's
temporaries for the general election for all poll workers.
for all of the workers,
Mhm.
and that's what it costs? Wow.
It can cost less than that, but, I don't think we spent, I think, what do we have on that? Well, we spent like,
We spent
41,000, yeah.
41,700.
yeah. So we spent,
This
that's how much the poll workers, yeah, cause we have to have Dem Republican, we have a lot more help
Okay,
per party.
okay. And then I just have just a general question, just for the record.
Mhm.
Can you let, us know if you know, what Milford's registrar salary is, and do they get benefits?
They do, actually, I think it might be on that
Oh, it is?
spreadsheet I gave with all of,
There's some,
but I think it was 32,000 they get each.
32?
Yes, and they're open 9 to 1. Their office hours are Monday through Friday.
And they get benefits?
I believe they get benefits. I can ask, actually, my full-time job is in Milford Board of Ed, so I always
here's
see them.
Milford here.
So I happen to ask them what their
32,000.
salary is.
It's in here somewhere.
Yeah, down the back.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
You all set?
I think
Yes,
it's,
Councilwoman Hamilton?
hi, how are you?
So you said Milford's open 9 to 1,
Monday through Friday.
Monday, what are
That's-
we open?
We're open Monday and Friday 9 to 1, and Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 3.
Has that been a problem with the public? Like-
No, not really, because like I said, we were getting a lot of like DMV online. A lot of people register to vote online. The only time, I mean, we never really had a lot of people come into our office except when it's like an election time.
Mhm.
Or, you know, a lot of people would say, okay, where's city clerk's office? We were like the, you know, tell people where to go, what office. But we don't get a lot of people. But there's a lot of DMV and online registrations that come in.
And you have to manually put those
Yes.
where they need to go?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
like we'll get like a couple hundred over the weekend or something, and Donna and Veronica split it, and they take half each.
So, so they don't work every single day?
Donna
No
works,
one works that office is not open every single day, so,
yeah, it is.
oh, it is?
Yeah, Monday
Okay.
and Friday, 9 to 1. So Donna works Monday through Thursday.
Okay,
And Veronica works Tuesday through Friday.
gotcha.
So it's open 5 days a week.
Gotcha, okay.
And they've been, like, if Donna's off, then Veronica's been covering,
All right.
and vice versa.
And how about you? Do you have like, particular hours, or how many hours a week do you work?
I don't have particular hours, even though you physically don't see me here. I answer my emails. I have my emails on my phone. You know, I get back to you right
You
away.
do, mhm.
I check our budget constantly because I can log into Munis from my home. I come in before, if during elections, I come in before work and after work. I take vacation time to get the job done. I do all, like, when I hire the poll workers, I write all the letters. I do it all from home. I mean, if we're all in the office together, you know how small our office is.
Yeah, it is a closet.
Yeah. The long closet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure, you do know that there's other funding for you that isn't in your operating budget, right? In the
Yeah, it's the
primary expense is 50,000, and then election expense is 35,805 in addition to your operating budget.
Yeah, how come it's not in our operating budget, those two numbers?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's probably because, I mean, I'm guessing because it's always been there in contingency, so
Okay.
but it's not unallocated, it's allocated contingency, which means it's gotta be used for either primary expense or election expense. And I don't know, Mr. Taylor, if you don't mind, if we could get a run of those accounts and see what typically it's used for, because if there's meals in there, I think that would be helpful to inform the council that the meals already come out of there and we don't need another
Well,
line.
that's where we were putting it in,
Yeah.
and actually I talked to, Mr. Taylor yesterday because Joanne put Capetta's in
Yeah.
the voting machine number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're moving this.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did it already, because
Did
yeah, you did it already,
I
'cause
Yeah.
something.
So they were there was 3 vouchers, even like the rental of Simchat and Church of Holy Spirit, those were in the voting machine number. I said to Joanne, why did you put that? And she goes, I have no idea. So I had Dave Taylor do a budget transfer, so this way we can get that money back into the voting machine and supplies that we need for the voting machines.
So, just a correction, it was not a budget transfer, it was an
Oh.
actual journal entry. I transferred the actual expense.
But we would
I
get
would have
that.
had to talk to them if it was gonna be a budget transfer.
Oh, okay, well, then,
Yeah, over the
that's
amount,
true,
right?
the money, okay. But it's the money that came back into that account
Yep.
though, right?
Yeah. It's not
Okay.
spent anymore.
No, okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Councilwoman Akbarali?
I'm sorry.
Hi Sherry, how are you?
Hi, good.
I just have a couple questions. In your job description, is it stated that it's a remote job?
No, it doesn't state it. It just says that really, I'm here for the general election and maintaining the voter list. That's our job description.
Okay, so when you quantify your hours, is that something that you have to come in and do, or are you able to do that while you work from home?
I could do that while I work at home, because
Okay.
that's why we have our 2 office people. They can take care of the DMV online. And actually, I talked to some registrars, and they have the Connecticut voter registration system at home, so they don't even have to go in the office.
Okay. And also, how do you take time off if you don't have the ability or don't have the actual time off to take a vacation or sick time? How does that work? What is the process for that?
What do you mean? At my other job?
No, for registrars.
I'm not. I don't get sick time. I don't
Right.
get- oh.
So you don't get sick time or vacation time, but does anybody take vacation time throughout the years? Like, does anybody go on vacation?
Donna and Veronica, and they cover for one another, but they don't get paid for
That-
vacation
okay, so they
time.
cover for
That
one
was all
another.
taken away from them.
Right, okay. So I just wanted to know if they were either, if one person comes in, they cover for one another, if that's like worked out in the system.
They have been doing that. Years ago, it was like if Dems and Republicans, they never worked together.
Okay,
So they always had morning hours, Republicans, and the
Yeah.
Dems would be in the afternoon. Now we work together because it makes sense to work together and not have all the work be done on one person.
right, okay. I just wanted to know how that worked if it wasn't in the budget, like to have sick time or vacation time. How could 2 people be in the office if one, you know what I mean? If there's vacation time, I didn't know how that worked. If someone went on vacation, does the other person step in and kind of fill that role?
Yeah, they
Okay.
do, yeah.
Perfect.
Because I don't know what happened, like they work 19 hours, they get paid. They used to get vacation and sick time, but then that got taken away.
Right,
But, so that's why I had asked, what happens to that money when they don't use it all in that
Right.
line item? And I guess it goes back into the general fund.
it goes back into the general fund,
But
okay.
even when there's a holiday, they don't get paid.
Okay.
They won't get paid for Good Friday. Like Veronica will lose out 4 hours on
Right.
Friday.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All set, Chairman, thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Hamilton?
Yeah, so just listening to Councilwoman Aquavalley, that I'm confused about something and maybe you can help me.
Mm-hmm.
So the two admins, right?
Donna and Veronica. yeah.
Right, they don't get vacation or sick time.
Mm.
But they do go on vacation.
And they don't get paid for it.
But everything gets used on that line item.
I don't know. I don't know if it gets used. It might, I mean, they might work a little bit more. No, I mean, what's our, let's see.
No,
We
you're
still,
gonna spend it this year, and you spent it last, no, you didn't spend it last year.
do you have how much we have
The
left
same
over?
sheet you got.
Oh, they're
No, I
salary
don't have that one. I
workers?
have
Spent $41,000.
They're salary
No,
workers?
No, the regular, no, the regular.
They're gonna
wage.
each get
You're talking about
26,200.
No, that's
each get
poll
that.
workers. The
Even though
regular
they don't
wages
go-
are for the admins, which we have 17,000 left over, so I think we're gonna have over in that. That's why, last year I said, why can't they get paid 19 hours a week? Because they don't, or take a vacation time, or use
I think
sick time.
there are broader things that need to be explored here. Do they have they do not have representation, do they?
No,
Okay.
they're not in the union. no.
They're not in the
But,
union, and, what
They're not
happened,
the only people that we pay temporary wages to. You can't single out two people for vacations and holidays, et cetera, if we don't give it to everyone, or we. Anyway,
They're really part-time, they're part-time.
they're part-time employees, you only pay them if they work.
Do they punch?
they punch. Yeah. And they don't get paid for sick time or vacation time, and they lost $2 an hour a wage. They had a wage reduction 3 years ago, I think. And I didn't think that was right. I thought that was illegal. If you didn't want to give them any, if you wanted to stop it, you should have froze their
What's
wage.
their salary, what is their wage?
It's on page 43, so it's that 52,000 divided by 2, right? 26,000 and change.
They-
No, I see what you're saying.
I don't, she's
19
not
hours
saying
is
that.
how we
No,
I think
We-
it's
we
like
have to
20,
pay
I
the
think it's
minimum
like 20, yeah, it is it's above minimum
It
wage,
is above
but.
minimum wage, okay.
It is above minimum wage, but like I said, 3 years ago, the mayor had cut and didn't tell us until 3 months after the budget was passed that.
So there is a raise, there is an increase in here.
Yeah, this time it is, yeah.
How
But
much
they,
of an
but
increase
they
did you
were,
put in?
but they were making 27 at one time.
Yeah,
How much of an
They're
increase
making
did you put in?
26.3.
They I think, when Scott did it, 2%, I think
Okay,
it's
it's
an increase.
2%.
Mhm.
Yeah, whatever was
So
recommended.
the 2% increase in here.
Right, whatever was requested was recommended, so
Yes.
there's no change
So whatever
there.
Scott put in there for this, I
Mm,
confess I didn't look at this particular stuff.
That's okay.
Any other questions for,
So I don't think we'll be using the 17,000, because we're already in April, till June.
What's 17,000?
That's left in their line item.
Cher?
Oh, sorry.
You could talk with David after, right, about
Okay.
your budget. Let's get
Okay,
finish this.
sorry.
first.
Answer the question.
Which question?
Well, my question is, if they don't take sick time and if they don't get paid for sick time and they don't get paid for vacation, like how, but the money's being used. Like if they're not there, so if they're on vacation, they don't get paid that week.
No.
Right.
No, they used to, when they
So-
were 25 hours a week.
Do they always work 19 hours a week? They never come in and work more than 19 hours in any given week.
Only during an election.
So that's where, probably where it gets.
Probably equals
Okay,
out.
gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
not that
Okay,
much that
you
it would
see
get.
what
Got, yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
But
Thank you.
not that much. I mean, I'm sure can you find out how much we had in it last year?
We spent 50,000 last year
In that line item?
in regular wages. And you're on pace to spend it all this year.
Right.
At 30,000 right now. You're just 1 month more than half the year per this chart
Okay.
in January. You probably were thinking it's through last month, no, this is through January, we're at 30.
Oh, this is only from January?
Yeah, only through January.
Oh, all right. I thought it was like, this was
I don't know what you.
this one that you gave me the other day when I
Okay,
asked
let
you.
me see this.
Okay. I thought it was,
Through 8, so this is through February, it's only 1 month more. January is month 7, February is month 8.
So David, the registrar's office follows the same procedures every other office does, right? So they punch, somebody reviews the hours, somebody approves them, it goes through ADP, and they get paid, right?
Yes.
I approve Donna's and Joanne approves hers, of Veronica's, through ADP.
I have this one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
please.
So
That's all right.
This is a redistricting, crazy kind of election, year coming up and stuff. How is, your office on track with getting all those streets straightened out with all the redistricting? How's it going?
It's completed.
Wow.
So I just gotta put, Donna worked with Matt, and,
Yep.
it's completed.
Great.
So now we're moving our 3 polling locations, we got Carrigan.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. And then District 1 is coming back to City Hall. And then we have to merge the 2nd and 3rd district, because Washington is getting torn down.
Okay.
So,
So it's a good thing that we kind of passed our redistricting fast. So then it
Yeah.
gave you more time to do what you had to do
Yeah.
without rushing.
yeah.
Great, thank
So,
you.
You're welcome. I just gotta update the website with the new map.
Cool, thanks.
Do you have it on email, like the map, or no?
I do, I can email you.
You do? Okay, thank you.
I'm through, thank you.
Any other questions for the registrar? Thank you, Cher.
All right, thank you. And I will keep you updated on the early voting.
Yeah, please do, as soon as you find out,
Yeah.
that'd be very helpful.
Okay.
Okay, our next session will be Tuesday, April 18th, 6 o'clock tax collector, 6:30 engineering and water pollution, and 7 o'clock the library. If there's nothing else, we're in recess.